What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. So in today's vlog we are going to be updating the front suspension of the 86. So I just want to give a big shout out to Whiteline for sponsoring this video. So I'm excited to see how much stiffer it's going to be with the front strut tower bar along with the bump and steer parts from Whiteline. Let's go ahead, open up and talk about what they sent us. Check this out. The packaging actually was pretty good. On the top it doesn't say Whiteline at all. It actually has no type of labeling. You know, I thought it was gonna say Whiteline. Now I know that's not the point of this part. As long as this part is more function than form, you know, at the end of the day, that's what I needed to do. I needed to do its job. I don't even know if you guys can kind of see that a little bit here. This part is good, so let's go ahead and open up the other suspension parts we got and take a look at those, because I think those are probably look a little bit better. For the front roll center and bump correction kit, comes in a nice little box like this, and to be honest, has a really nice presentation. These are the parts for the front roll and bump center correction. The yellow is kind of their like go-to color for their brand, and it also has the branding, like I said, on each side. That has the white line there. Here are these right here, your ball joints as well. So if you guys are wondering what difference does these have than the OEM ones, well, when you're going at high speeds around high corners, what they did was, you guys probably wouldn't be able to notice, but this right here, this bolt is actually extended a little bit more than what OEM is, so on both parts here. So this is extended a little bit more, as well as the ball joint is extended a little bit more, and that's basically how it improves your cornering. So they did, you know, they're studying, and I know that they have a bunch of cars that actually are within motorsports, so definitely has been tested in that way, and I definitely can guarantee that. If you guys go down to their website, I'll leave it in the description down below, you guys can see a bunch of that stuff. I know we haven't gone to the track yet, you guys, and I do want to go there, but do I want to go there on bags? I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't sound like it'd be like as fun as if we went with like coilovers or maybe even like a cup kit. So something I've been thinking about. But let's go ahead and get started on these front roll center and bump correction kit. They actually give you some pretty good instructions. It's about like 6 pages. We need to hit the ball joints first. The ball joints are currently right here on this arm right here, so we're basically gonna have to undo this bolt here, and then this bolt over here, I believe, and then we can access a ball joint here. So there should be like a nut and a pin up here, but it does talk about pressing the ball joint back into the arm. I don't know if I have that tool to be able to like do that. This one, it does look like it is kind of like pressed in there. Stuff like that is usually where I'm like, dude, it took way longer than it needed to, only because of not having the right tools and things like that. We should be able to do it, I think, without that, so we shall see. And then attack the tie rod right here. So as you guys can see, it's literally right next to each other. So let's go ahead and take this off and see if we can get it done. After struggling to pull this out, I want to give you maybe a couple tips that might help you guys pull it out rather than struggling like I did. I had to ask like my uncle to come out and kind of maybe give me his thoughts, and he did help me. So when you are pulling this off right here, once you loosen the bolt up to the top, you might want to leave the bolt up top here and maybe hammer it down to just get this ball joint off. It is extremely hard. What we did, I accidentally took off this nut and then I started hammering and messed up the threads. As you can see right here, I messed it up, so I couldn't even put it back on. So what we had to do was grab this, put it on top of the bolt like this, and then we started hammering up here to kind of get it out, and it worked. That worked really good. Also, I turned the wheel coming outwards this way to give me some more space because it was really hard to get in here. Now we can go ahead and switch this. I don't know, I'm gonna try to maybe put it on the ground and hammer this out. It really sucks when you don't have everything that you need. Tools are expensive, parts are expensive. This is just all expensive. If you guys are still watching in the video for this long, please give me a thumbs up and a subscribe if you're not already subscribed to the channel, so we can keep stuff like this going, you guys, and just further our journey into the car world, because I want to experience so many more things. So alright guys, so it is the next day and I ended up finishing up this side of the job. Now I'm currently working on this side, and I gotta say, because I didn't necessarily know what I was doing on this side or in general, that this side, this morning, is so much more faster, and I'm so glad, because obviously I was struggling a lot yesterday trying to figure out how to get the ball joint pressed into the arm, and I think that was kind of the biggest issue. So if you guys can figure out how to do that without maybe like a press machine, because like I don't have one of these at my house, definitely had to just figure out what we had here to try to make it work, and we did. I'll show you guys that in a moment, but right now I kind of wanted to show you guys basically the difference between the OEM and the white line. So passenger side tie rod, and this is the driver side. Do you see the difference in length here? So like I said, the white line had engineered the bolt to be a lot longer rather than this one. So it's not a crazy amount in terms of length, but they do it to both the ball joint and the tie rod. So that honestly is what's going to be helping the cornering when you're going at a pretty nice high speed. So I just kind of wanted to show you guys that because I thought it was pretty cool. I literally have spent only like 30 minutes or less on this side, and I'm already almost done. I literally have the ball joint out already from the driver's side, and I just need to install the driver's side ball joint from white line. So let's go ahead and finish this up, and I'll show you guys exactly what it looks like under the car. We finished both sides, and this is the reason why I said, you know, hey, let's start on the hard part first, because I knew it was going to take me a bit. Clearly it's taken me 2 days. Today's the second day. I didn't mention that, but today is the second day. It got cold and it got dark yesterday, and so we just had to continue today. So we officially finished. It was a little bit faster than yesterday, I want to say, but we did run into the same issue, whereas the ball joint needed to get pressed into the arm, and unfortunately it didn't go as well as the first time. I know how that sounds, but let me show you why. This is the passenger side here, and we have the ball joint in there pretty good. Everything is solid back in place. We have the tie rod in there and everything. Now if we come to this side, this is the side we just finished off. Now same thing, everything is solid, everything is good. You guys won't be able to notice, but there is one slight difference. Here is the ball joint here, right? And as you can see, this tie rod boot, it's yellow, right? Well, this one it's still black. It's actually the OEM, but it is the white line part. Now, if you come over here to the side we did yesterday, we got the tie rod boot, it's yellow, and then we got the ball joint boot that's yellow. Now, the problem is, because we didn't have an actual press, like I said, we had to use what we had. Unfortunately, this is the part that I said we didn't do as well as we did yesterday. The boot for the new one is right here. Now, the bad part is this crazy tear right here. And not only did it have a tear right there, but it was basically about to tear right here as well on the other side. So, so this is the OEM part, the OEM ball joint. This is just the boot from Whiteline. So it's all Whiteline parts. I just had to change the boot on this side because of that rip, and I just didn't want all the grease to escape or like water to kind of get in there and everything. So one ball joint is yellow from Whiteline on the other side, and then the other ball joint, the boot, is still the OEM boot, but it's all Whiteline ball joints and tie rods. So unfortunately, we had like this crazy thing happen to us when I was trying to put in the ball joint with this. Okay, so this is all we had. I do not recommend this, by the way, and believe it or not, it literally broke in half, dude. This is supposed to like close in and out, right? But it's supposed to be connected to this, and it literally broke off. Like, that's how much force and everything was kind of going into this. Get it pressed in, or get a press before you do the ball joints. The tie rods you could easily do, but the ball joints, that is something you need like a special tool, something to press it into and take it out, honestly. Luckily enough, I had that last long enough for us to kind of put this together and take things out. Other than that, I wouldn't have known what to do. I would have had to like take it to a shop, like, hey, can you press these in? Which probably would have been a better idea. But it is Sunday, and yesterday was Saturday. It was midday. You guys get it. You guys get it. Anyways, we need to do the front strut tower brace bar. I wanted to do something right before that. So before we get into that, I wanted to do something really quickly. I wanted to show you guys something because I've been having this leak, small like leak, okay? And I thought it might have been like the crush washer, but let me explain a little bit more. Check this out. This is the pan that goes under like the oil pan, the headers, everything like that. It covers all of that. Check out how grimy and just filthy this is. Like, what in the world was going on that wasn't cleaned up, that like endorsed all of this to just accumulate? Obviously, I didn't clean it after so long, and it just didn't help, you know, in terms of the buildup. But also, here is the section where the pan kind of covers. Here is the oil pan. Now, obviously, as you can see, there's like, it's really clean here. I haven't touched this whole area. I just wanted to kind of show you guys in real time, but it's not leaking, so it's not the crush washer. Then we kind of get in here. HKS blow-off valve, that's kind of filthy, but there'd be no leaking from there. But then now we're a little bit past the blow-off valve. This is kind of where like their turbo and oil cooler kind of sit, and you do see a little bit of drip right there, right? I think that's to the oil cooler, like this right here, you guys. I don't know if it's dripping from there or not, but definitely pretty dirty from like old stuff that wasn't cleaned up in here, like this area here, kind of section where the pulleys are at and everything. Like these like this and everything right here is all like really filthy. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean all this up. I wanted to kind of steam that just like we did the engine bay, clean off as much as possible, and then kind of see if it is actually leaking or not, or if it's just old stuff dripping because it wasn't being cleaned. It was a little concerning because, like I said, it was dripping every so often here, and it was dripping like in other places too. Other people would be like, hey, you have like a small drop when you left, and so it was a little concerning. But I think that it's just been absolutely filthy and just dripping the filth. I want to go ahead, clean it up really quickly, do the oil change, and then we'll go ahead and tackle the front strut tower bar. We were able to get the front strut tower brace bar on here, and as you can see, it sits pretty nicely, actually, honestly. And to be honest, I was wondering if it was gonna be an inconvenience, because there is, you know, obviously a little bit thicker right here on the base of the strut bar. But it works nice. Everything honestly gets to fit in exactly how it was. I believe like maybe the only thing I wasn't able to reuse is like the base for the nut here on this one right here. But I mean, that's fine. Other than that, I mean, it looks pretty good in here, you know? It almost looks like it literally should have came like that from factory with like a bar here. A little bit of labeling here, which I'm pretty sure you can go ahead and tie that back to Whiteline, but it would have been nice if it had the Whiteline logo up top so you knew what brand of brace bar you had. We also did figure out, I don't know if you guys can see here, so here is the oil cooler. It was dripping literally from right here where the oil cooler is at straight down to the bottom of the pan there, and a lot of the times I was seeing a little bit of oil right on top of that fitting right there, so it made me kind of suspect that there was something dripping from this area right here. Came to find out, I tightened these two pieces right here on the oil cooler to the point where I was like, this seems like I'm turning it way too much. I did that, and then I kind of just let the car sit for a minute, and for sure enough, I didn't see no more dripping, because for sure when I had initially did the oil change and turned the car on, there was dripping going down, and I was like, where is it coming from? But I think we figured it out. I think it was just these that needed to be tightened. And it was both of them too. I'm really glad that we figured out where that leak was coming from. We cleaned it all up down there. We steamed it. It looks so good. Still like some like dirtiness in here. But hey, look, you're not going to be able to clean everything. So at least we got the majority of it cleaned under the car. And that whole pan that was under there, completely cleaned that pan as well. It was so filthy, as you guys had saw. So I'm really glad that we kind of cleaned this all up. So definitely need to go and get the alignment and check and see how the car feels now that we had changed all that. Finally came back from getting a alignment, and we're currently about to basically test out the new parts that we had installed, the tie rods and the ball joints. Initially, I could tell you when I left the shop, I could tell going from left to right was a little bit tighter, which definitely is what we want. And I think also the strut tower bar also helps with that. But we really weren't able to kind of go and like go around some curves at like, you know, some good speed. We're almost close to the house, but right before my house, there's like this little tiny like canyon kind of drive. And so I figured, well, this is probably the best place to try it out. Make our way down this little canyon here. So let me go ahead and give you guys like an honest review. And right now we're like in 4th gear going about speed limit. And then we crank it up a bit. That feels a little bit tighter on the steering wheel. I can feel the tightness, because before the steering wheel was a lot like more playful, if that makes sense. I really don't know how to explain it, but when you touch the steering wheel and you're making your slight like turns or going into certain lanes, you can feel how responsive it is and how just tight it is. And I feel like that's kind of what we are looking for, is the like tightness that we get like around a corner or just like on turns in general. I think what's more crazy to me is like the slight differences you make on a car and the big difference that it makes in your driving experience. So something like ball joints, or maybe not even the ball joints. Maybe you guys just want to do the strut tower bar, and that might make a difference in the stiffness. But definitely so much more tight and smoother around these corners. This is just a great car. It's just a good car, dude. Now that we're back from the alignment and we tested out the car through the little canyonway I have in my backyard, it actually feels a lot more responsive and gives me a lot more confidence going through the corners. I don't really know how to explain. Obviously, you would have to feel it for yourself, but like on the steering wheel in general, when I like kind of like going from left to right, I just feel like this certain amount of like tension that wasn't necessarily there before. But like in a good way. Like I said, I don't know how to explain it. I don't know if I'm explaining it very well, but I can tell the difference in terms of just the feeling I get when I'm kind of going through those curves, and just how smooth it is, and just more of the confidence I get. So anyways, big shout out to Whiteline for sending out those parts and for sponsoring this video. I really appreciate you guys for being a part of the build. If you guys are looking for any of those parts or any of their parts, you guys can definitely find their stuff in the description down below. You guys might want to stay tuned for this next vlog, because we got to get a retune for the car, and we got to get a retune only because we're going to be adding some parts that were require us to get a retune. I know I've been kind of hinting at this for a couple videos now, so definitely the next one you're not gonna want to miss it, you guys. I'm really excited. By the time you guys are watching this, it is New Year's already, you guys. I really hope each and every one of you guys that has been supporting me has had a great 2025. I hope you guys just acquire everything that you want to in 2026 and experience much joy, much love, and much prosperity. So thank you guys so much for always supporting me throughout my journey and doing what we're doing here. It means the world to me, and each year I just try to write down my goals and try to, you know, be better than I was the last day, and just kind of take each day one by one, and try not to get too ahead of myself and enjoy these moments, because these are moments that we're not going to get back. You know, just learning how to do stuff, figuring it all out. And I know sometimes it could be frustrating, it could be a struggle, and I'm right there with you, but that's life, and we're just going through it together. So I'm glad to have you guys here for another year. Happy New Year's to you guys. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to the channel. Oh, and before I go, I know some of you guys maybe might not have stayed to the end or whatnot, but in one of these last videos I did mention that I have these Billet Works caps for the 2022 plus a GR86 or BRZ platform, and I have the windshield wiper cap and I have the engine oil cap, and I literally am giving these away for free to somebody random that goes and purchases anything from the Press Start website. You guys could find the link down below in the description. It could be anything. It could be a sticker, and I will throw one of these in. Nobody has bought anything. Nobody went and bought anything, so I still have them, and willing to give you guys these for free, especially, you know, for you guys always supporting me. So there'll be new giveaways this year coming along just to show my appreciation to you guys. I know it's been a while since we had like a big one, but it's coming, trust me. Anyways, that's all I got for this video. Make sure you guys live long and prosper, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Happy New Year.